So hi, good day, sir. So for today, we are going to discuss the following topics that you had given to us. But prior to that, let me first introduce my group mates. The All Care Hospice, together with Shine Kalunod, Faith Petaluna, Rika Paul, Sohaila Rascal, and yours truly, Diane Grace Soriano. The first topic we have the historical antecedents and the course of science and technology. In ancient times, it runs into 3000 BC to 500 AD. In Sumerian civilization, it runs into 4000 BC to 1900 BC. It is the earliest known civilization, where it had a high degree of cooperation, and Mesopotamia between Tigris and Euphrates rivers later became the Babylonia, or now the southern Iraq. The technological and cultural contributions. First, we have the wheel. It is used for farm work and food processes. Second, the plough. It is used easily to dig soil faster, could cultivate larger lands. And next is the roots. Use bricks, added bitumen, black sticky substance to the smoothen root. Second, we have the Babylonian civilization. It runs into the 626 BC to 539 BC. Babylon was the great city of the ancient world, the capital of the Babylonia, a religious center, the banks of the Euphrates River, the important trading post, and the Babylon known as the Gate of the God. So we have the Hanging Gardens of the Babylon. It is one of the seven wonders of the ancient world, where it was built in the honor of the Queen Amethyst, wife of the king Nebuchadnezzar. So it is one of the technological and cultural contribution. Third, we have the Egyptian civilization. It runs 3100 BC to 332 BC. So it is in Oasis in the northeastern Africa, where they concentrated along the lower reaches of the Nile River. Technological and cultural contributions include the paper or the papyrus, the ink, and the hieroglyphs. Next, we have the cosmetics, the wig, and the water clock or the clepsydra. Technological and cultural contributions, the paper or papyrus, a writing material, and paint, papyrus or paper paint, cultivated in the Nile Delta region. Second, the ink, combining soot with different chemicals to form colors. Third, the hieroglyphics, the sacred graving, the Greek word, employs characters through pictures, may be read as picture symbol or pictures or sound. Last, the cosmetics, used since the 4th millennium BC for the health and aesthetic means. It is wore kohe around the eyes to cure eye disease, coil, soot malachite with mineral galena. Also, we have the wig. And Egyptians in the ancient days shaved their head and wore wigs to protect themselves from the sun's harmful rays. We have also the clock or the water clock, or known as the clepsydra, where it measures by the gradual flow of water, was filled with water that's allowed to escape through a hole. We have the Greek civilization, where it runs to 18th century BC to 146 BC. It lies at the junction of the Europe, Asia, and Africa, the birthplace of the Western philosophy and mathematics. Technological and cultural contributions, we have the alarm clock. Use water, small stones, or sand to sound the alarm. It was from the idea of Plato. Water mill, it is used in the agricultural processes. Next, we have the Roman civilization. It runs into 27 BC to 476 CE. achieved greatness in their military, political, and social institutions, the cradle of politics and governance. One of their technological and cultural contributions, we have the newspaper, the Gazettes, which is their first newspaper. It contained announcements. Next, we have the bound books or codex, the most important advance in bookmaking before the printing press, from wax cover to more lasting animal skins. The Roman architecture, the greatest visual contributions. It is Roman Forum or Forum Romanum, a rectangular forum surrounded by the ruins of important buildings. Next, we have the Roman numerals, a device number system to meet communication and trade concerns. Lasted till late Middle Ages, has inherent limitations. So now we have the Chinese civilization. It runs 1600 to 221 BC. An East Asian country has written records from 4,000 years ago. One of the four great ancient civilizations, the Egypt, the Babylon, and the India. One of their technological and cultural contributions, the silk, which is the tied China to the world, a natural protein fiber. It is woven into textiles, composed of the fibrone found and produced by the larvae to form cocoons. The best silk is from the mulberry silkworm Mobis mori. Next, we have the tea production. Played a central role in the historical events, symbolizes loyalty, love, and a happily married life. Next, we have the Great Wall of China. It is the only human-made structure visible from space, was built, rebuilt, and extended. It is 6,000 kilometers since the Ming Dynasty. It has required the greatest human effort among the ancient constructions. It is composed of 100 million tons of brick, stone, and soil. Next, we have the gunpowder, invented in the 19th century by the alchemist. It is mixed sulfur, charcoal, and saltpeter or potassium nitrate. The purpose was for immortality, but was highly explosive. So now we have the medieval time. It is during 500 to 1500 CE. The medieval time, it is also known as the Middle Ages. The Middle Age is the time after the classical age of the ancient Greece and Rome and before the Renaissance. The beginning of the Middle Ages is called the Dark Ages. The massive inventions and migrations were combined during this time since wars were prevalent, especially at the start or early medieval times. Such technology needed in the field of the weaponry, navigation, mass food, and farm production and health. One of their technological and cultural contributions is the printing press by Johannes Gutenberg. The first movable type was carved into clay and baked into hard blocks that were then arranged into an iron frame that was pressed against an iron plate. Next, we have the microscope by Hans and Zacharias Janssen, made up of graining glass to use for spectacles and magnifying glasses, was commonplace during the 13th century. Next, we have the telescope by Galileo Galilei. Galilei was the one to use the telescope to discover, among other things, that there were 4 moons of Jupiter. Other inventions were also discovered, such as compass, hours, and rudders, which made sea traveling easier and safer. Also, we have war weapons by the people, developed not only offensive tools but also for defensive instruments. The first most common medieval weapons were crossbow, bow, battle axe, mace, and spear pike, or spear or pike. So now we have the modern times, which is the 20th century. The modern era, the period in human history which spans from the 20th century beginning with the period after the end of the First World War, and ending with the advent of the digital revolution. The massive industrialization started and the booming of the world population. So we have the pasteurization by Louis Pasteur. It's a process of heat processing a liquid or a food to kill pathogenic bacteria to make the food safe to eat. It involves heating the food to kill most harmful microorganisms. So we have now the petroleum refinery by the Samuel Martin Care. It is used for better means of powering homes and transportation. The earliest lighting oils were made from the olives and seeds. However, the modern times increases demands better means of powering homes and transport. Keir was the first person in the United States to refine crude oil into lamp oil. Keir was been dubbed the grandfather of the American oil industry by historians. So now we have the telephone by Alexander Graham Bell, one of the quickest inventions ever, allowing instant voice communication between people on different sides of the world. So now we have the calculator by Blaise Pascal. At the age of 18, Blaise Pascal invented and built the first digital calculator as a means of helping his father perform tedious tax accounting. The device was called Pascal calculator or Pascaline or the arithmetic. Necessity is the mother of invention. People invent things because society has difficult problems that need solution. People invent something cause to make an improvement to the community. One of it is the medical incubator by Dr. Fidel Mondo. Fidel Mondo invented a bamboo incubator in 1941 in bed to help families in rural communities. This incubator was composed of two native laundry baskets made of bamboo. Next, we have the Salamander Amphibous Tricycle by Victor Lovey. Victor Lovey is also known for his car customization business, a toy body kits. He teamed up with the H22 technologies to develop the H22 Salamander or simply known as the Salamander. Next, we have the sound lamp by the Isa Megeno. Isa Megeno is an engineer who was inspired by members of the Batbat tribe in Kalinga who rely on kerosene lamps for their main source of light. Alternative lighting lamp consists purely of salty water into which two electrodes are placed. Next, we have the BET microchip by Diosdado Banatao. Diosdado Banatao, also known as the Bill Gates of the Philippines, is an engineer, inventor, entrepreneur, aviator, and philanthropist from Igig, Cagayan Valley. A 16-bit microchip, the first single chip, graphical user interface accelerator that made computers work a lot faster. So next we have the erythromycin by Abelardo Aguilar. Erythromycin was discovered by Abelardo Aguilar, a class of medication called macrolide antibiotics. Erythromycin is used to treat a wide variety of bacterial infections and used to prevent certain bacterial infections. So next we have the external vaginal cleanser by Dr. Virgilio Malang. Dr. Virgilio Malang, also known as the Belly Malang, a famous inventor of feminine hygiene for external vaginal cleanser. Feminine hygiene or the external vaginal cleanser meant to cleanse the vulva, such as the Duchess feminine wipes and soap. So next we have the Quink Ink by Francisco Quisimbing. Francisco Quisimbing is the inventor of the Quink Ink by the Parker Pen Company. Quink Ink is an innovative ink that is quick to dry, water resistant, does not blot, and will not fade. So next we have the Jeepney. By Leonardo Salvador Sarao Jr. Sarao is the inventor of the most popular mode of transmission in the Philippines. He was the first entrepreneur to see this a real business opportunity for mass transport in the country. Sarao designed jeeps that were more functional but includes extending the vehicle's body to accommodate more passengers and integrating railings on top of the jeep to hold cargo. Inventions made our life easy and smooth. Throughout history, many bright minds have thought many great ideas. Some of those brought about inventions that changes our lives forever. So now we have the intellectual revolution and the Copernican revolution. Intellectual revolution used to refer to Greek speculation about the nature and the period before Socrates, which truly before 600 to 400 BCE, also called as the pre-Socratic, non-theological, or the first philosophy. Period where paradigm shift occurred includes different perspectives of great scientists and philosophers like Claudius Ptolemy, Nicholas Copernicus, Charles Darwin, and Sigmund Freud. The geocentric theory, coined by the Claudius Ptolemy, which was a Greek mathematician, astronomer, geographer, and astrologer, lived in the city of Alexandria in the Roman province of Egypt under the rule of the Roman Empire, discovered that Earth was the center of the universe. The word for Earth in Greek is geo, so later this idea is called geocentric theory. The heliocentric model proposed by Nicholas Copernicus, a Polish astronomer from the late 16th century onward, a theory that the sun is at rest near the center of the universe and that the Earth, which is spinning on its axis once a day, revolves annually around the sun, also called as the heliocentric or sun-centered system. The geocentric versus the heliocentric. The geocentric by Claudius Ptolemy, which is the Earth is the center of the universe, and the heliocentric model by Nicholas Copernicus, which is the sun is the center of the universe. The birth of modern astronomy. After some time, many supported the works of the Copernicus that finally helped convince people and change their knowledge as well as perception of the world. The beginning of what they called as the birth of modern astronomy. Also, we have the Darwinian Revolution. In the Darwinian Revolution, the main quest for knowledge is knowing about the origin of life. Are we really created by divine force or descend from the monkeys? How did it all begin? Charles Robert Darwin, also known as the English naturalist and the father of evolution. So how did he come up with the ideas about the evolution? Darwin had an extraordinary journey before hundreds of experiments and spent 20 years refining his ideas about evolution. Darwin's theory described how organisms change over time as a result of changes in heritable physical or behavioral traits. Charles Darwin believes that the main process that brings about evolution is natural selection, often described the survival of the fittest, the process whereby organisms better adapted to their environment tend to survive and produce more offspring. In year 1859, Darwin presented his published book titled The Origins of Species, whereby theory of evolution produced. However, this theory became controversies as people perceive that it is against the church teachings. But decades later, some people changed their general thinking regarding Darwin's theory of evolution, which gains a better understanding of our world. Also, Sigmund Freud is also known as the father of the psychoanalysis. He was able to change people's concept about the psychoanalysis, which refined as a study of mind and behavior with his revolutionary theory of psychoanalysis. So, what is psychoanalysis? Psychoanalysis is a study that explains human behavior. In his theory, he explained that there are a lot of conscious and unconscious factors that can influence the behavior and emotions. So we have the conscious, small amount of cavity we know about. Unconscious is defined as a reservoir of our feelings, thoughts, urges, and memories that outside of conscious awareness. So we have the three conflicting elements of personality according to Freud. So we have the ID is based on our pleasure principle. Next we have the ego, operates based on the reality principle. Last we have the super ego, incorporates the values and morals of society which are learned from one parent and others. Freud had invented a successful science of the mind that changed the way that society dealt and thought with people to overcome abnormal behavior and develop as an individual. Despite by criticism, but still Freud has able to respond satisfactorily to challenges of the life. And soon enough, people were able to understand the concepts of psychoanalysis, which eventually resulted in the classifying a psychology as a science. So that's conclude with the historical antecedents of the course of science and technology. So the next topic will be discussed by Shine Kalunod, and that's all.
Hi everyone, I am Shine Cortez Calunot, and today I will be reporting about intellectual revolution and how it defined the society. So, what is an intellectual revolution? So, it is a period where paradigm shift occurred. It is the scientific beliefs that have been widely embraced and accepted by the people were challenged and opposed. So, in the 6th century, Ptolemy introduced the geocentric model which described the perception of the universe, with the Earth as its center, which was thought to be true by most of the people at the time. So, Nicholas Copernicus. So now we have the Copernican revolution. Eccentric from heliocentric happened through the contribution of different persons. So first, Tycho Brahe, careful observation of the star Cassiopeia. Johannes Kepler said that all planets move on elliptical orbits and the sun at the center. Next, the Galileo Galilei developed his own telescope and observed Venus. And lastly, Sir Isaac Newton's law of gravitation. It is also influences conceptual changes in cosmology, religion, physics, and philosophy. It changes the belief of the people about the placement of the earth. So next, the United Kingdom. In the United Kingdom, we have the Darwinian Revolution. So Charles Darwin, he is known for his evolution by natural selection and was formulated in his book on the origin of species in 1859. So the theory described how organisms over time as a result changes inheritable physical and behavioral traits. So the changes that allow an organism to be better to its environment can help its survival and have more spring. So the theory of evolution has two main points. So first, all life on earth is connected and relate to each other. And second, this diversity of life came about because of the modification in populations that were driven by natural selection. The revolution may be viewed as the discovery of a way of locating in the mind objective entities which can be standard like physical things. So we have the next revolution, the Freudian Revolution. So Sigmund Freud's book became the hallmark of psychoanalysis. So Freud described also that the brain can be segmented into compartments. So we have the information revolution. So Alan Turing's machine introduced the idea that thinking and being conscious could be attributed to no human entities. So the information revolution started from the Sumerian of pictographs. So next, the invention of Gutenberg's printing press in 1455. So last, the use of typewriter and the telegraph. So today's generations, these technologies are used widely, which became easier with the help of the internet. Next, the Mesoamerican. In Mesoamerican, the Aztecs has established a great military force. So the Chinampa of the Aztec used small rectangular area of the fertile land to grow crops on the shallow lake beds. The use of rubber is documented in the Maya ball game called Tlakley. So they are also used cocoa beans as a currency. So next, in the Middle East. In the Middle East, the Arab applied the Romance principles and improved the water mill known as Noria. So in the Middle East, it is known for their machine design and improvement for irrigation, industrial work, and war. So the windmill and watermill are used for crushing sugar canes, grinding grain, and pumping water. So next, the African. So Africa is known for the production of cola nuts and coffee in Ethiopia. Cola nuts is stimulated mostly found in West Africa and it is the basis of the popular cola drink. So the coffee was developed as a consumable drink that is spread to Arabia and then throughout the world. So in the Africa, they are also used plants with salicylic acid for pain or aspirin and for the diarrhea, chiropictate, and they are also used highly advanced in medicine such as operating autopsies and cesarean. So the technology involved experimentation in drainage, construction of boulders, desalination, and irrigation. So evidence in 1978 suggests that they already mastering making steels. So next we have the Asian Revolution. So traditional Chinese medicine, acupuncture, and herbal medicine were practiced. So these four pictures, it is the four great inventions of ancient China includes the compass, gunpowder, paper making, and printer. So the other discoveries includes the alchemy and the Taoist chemistry. So that's all for the intellectual revolution and how it is defined by the society. Thank you and God bless.
Good day, sir. I am Faith Jazal Marshall Pitiluna from BSN 2A, and my topic is all about how science and technology built nations. So, what is science and technology? So, science is the study of knowledge which can be made into a system and which depends on evaluative facts, while technology, on the other hand, is the practical application of scientific knowledge. Science and technology are essential tools in every sector of a society. A nation lacking in science and technology will forever depend on those who claim to the custodians of scientific and technological knowledge, even if such a country has crude oil. It is a well-known fact that no nation can develop without advancing in the areas of science and technology. It is true that advancements in science and technology has negatively affected humanity. And for example, the role atomic weapons played during the Second World War and the consequent wars in Africa, the Middle East, among others, was devastating. From this angle, religious-centered societies and people have viewed science and technology as enemies of humanity and tools of immorality. The concepts of morality, humanity, reality, and so on need to be subjected to rigorous evaluation. The role of science and technology is to lead national development and to support socioeconomic needs. The priority areas that have been identified are development of electronics, information, and communication technologies, development of technologies related to resources, energy, and food for social and economic stability. So, science and technology capabilities are fundamental for social and economic progress in developing countries. For example, in the health sector, scientific research led to the development and introduction of oral rehydration therapy, which became cornerstone of international efforts to control diarrheal diseases. The USAID, or United States Agency for International Development, has unique and broad legislative authority to support innovative programs in developing countries, unrivaled field experience in adapting technological advances to conditions and capabilities of poor countries, and many successes in integrating science and technology into development activities. Therefore, as science and technology capabilities become even more important for all countries in addressing traditional development issues and in coping with increased international flows of goods and services and the rapid spread of diseases and contaminants, the agency should play a central role in promoting the science and technology related programs of the U.S. government throughout the developing world. Nevertheless, countries at all levels of development have a strong desire for more robust science and technology capabilities, and some capability to understand the potential and limitations of science and technology, to select and effectively utilize suitable foreign technologies, and to develop local innovations is needed in every country. An efficient nationwide system of scientific and technological information will be established to collect, manage, and distribute information. Financial and tax support systems and public procurement will be used to induce the private sector. In the next century, small and medium-scale industries will grow to form the backbone of the national economy because the economic structure will change to one of economies of variety rather than economies of scale. Therefore, support systems involving financial, tax, information, and public procurement measures will be specially devised for the technology intensification of small and medium-scale industries. For every nation to get developed, the application of both science and technology has to go hand in hand. Villages are developed into towns and towns to cities and cities are expanding to greater horizons. This expansion has occurred through the expansion of science and technology over the years past and will be more in the coming years. The role that science and technology has played in improving the life conditions across the globe is vivid, but the benefit has to be harvested maximum by all countries. Science and technology has made life a lot easier and also a lot better with the advancement of medicines and analysis on diseases. Apart from the medical side, there has been remarkable development in education, communication, agriculture, industry, and etc. So today, countries are classified as developed and developing countries. The major categorization is based on economy and application of science and technology. If carefully analyzed, one gets to understand that countries which have a strong base in science and technology are the ones that develop faster. Without proper implementation of science and technology, no nation could grow, and all those nations that were labeled as low in growth have proved where they stand today, and all that has happened only because of science and technology. We, as citizens of the nation and who hold equal responsibility for the growth, should equip our youth with all possible facilities for their research, thirst, and support and motivate them, as the future of our nation is in their hands and they could get our nation to more advanced levels than what it is today. So that would be all. Thank you.
Good day everyone! Hi, my name is Rika A. Paul, student nurse from GH State College, Pagadian. So for today's presentation, I will going to talk about the human person flourishing in terms of science and technology. So how do humans flourish in terms of science and technology? First, what is happiness? In psychology, happiness is a mental or emotional state of well-being which can be defined by, among others, positive or pleasant emotions ranging from contentment to intense joy. To behaviorists, Happiness is a cocktail of emotions we experience when we do something good or positive. To neurologists, happiness is the experience of a flood of hormones released in the brain as a reward for behavior that prolongs survival. The hedonistic view of well-being is that happiness is the polar opposite of suffering. The presence of the happiness indicates the absence of pain. Because of this, hedonists believe that the purpose of life is to maximize happiness, which minimizes misery. Eudaimonia, a term that combines the Greek words for good and spirit. To describe the ideology, eudaimonia defines happiness as the pursuit of becoming a better person. Eudaimonists do this by challenging themselves intellectually or by engaging in activities that make them spiritually richer people. Aristotle believed that the human flourishing requires a life with other people. Aristotle thought that people acquire virtues through practice and that a set of concrete virtues could lead a person towards his natural excellence and happiness. According to Aristotle, there is an end of all the actions that we perform which we desire for itself. This is what it is known as eudaimonia, flourishing or happiness, which is desired for its own sake with all other things being desired on its account. Eudaimonia is a property of one's life when considered as a whole. Flourishing is the highest good of human endeavors and that towards which all actions aims. It is accessed as a human being that best life is one of excellent human activity. Eudaimonia, good-spirited, coined by Aristotle, describes the pinnacle of happiness that is attainable by humans, human flourishing. From Nicomachean Ethics, philosophical inquiry into the nature of the good life for a human being. Human flourishing arises as a result of different components such as phronesis, friendship, wealth, and power. In ancient Greek society, they believed that acquiring this will surely bring the seekers happiness, which in effect allows them to partake in the greater notion of what we call the good. As time changes, elements that comprise human flourishing change. People found means to live more comfortably, explore more places, develop more products, and make more money. Humans of today are expected to become men of the world, supposed to situate himself in a global neighborhood, working side by side among institutions and government to be able to reach a common goal. Principles of human flourishing. Dignity of the human person. Innate personal values or right which demands respect for all people regardless of race, social class, wealth, etc. Common good. Sacrificing its self-interest to provide for the basic human needs of everyone makes the whole community flourish. Preferential option for the poor. When decisions are made by first considering the poor. Subsidiarity. When all those affected by a decision are involved in making it. Universal purpose of goods. The earth's resources serve every person's needs, regardless of who owns them. Stewards of creation. Duty to care for the earth as a God-given. Gifts is a personal responsibility for the common good. Promotion of peace. Everyone has the duty to respect and collaborate in personal relationships and at national and global levels. Participation. Everyone has the right and the duty to take part in the life of society, economic, political, cultural, and religious. Global solidarity. Recognition that we are all interconnected, part of one human family. Different conceptions of human flourishing, Eastern and Western. Focus is community-centric. Individual should sacrifice himself for the sake of society. Chinese Confucian system. Japanese Bushido. Encourage studies of literature, sciences, and art of greater cause. More focus in the individual, human flourishing as an end, Aristotelian view aims for eudaimonia as the ultimate good. Human flourishing, individuals, communities, and societies. Environment, character, habits, stories, parenting, brain development. Every discovery, innovation, and success contributes to our pool of human knowledge. Human's perpetual need to locate himself in the world by finding proofs to trace evolution illustrates our idea of self-importance. Technology is a human activity we excel is as a result of achieving science. Good is inherently related to the truth. References is the last part of this slide. And then, thank you for listening.
Hi sir, good day. I am Suhaila Direscal, BSN 2A from the group of Miss Soriano, Miss Petaluna, Miss Kalunod, and Miss Poe. I am the last presenter for the certain topic. I will be discussing when technology and humanity are crossed and why does the future do not need humans. So humanity, it refers to a set of qualities which are used to define human's nature and the human condition. Humanity is love of people that encompasses both love and altruism. And humanity refers to the qualities that make every person human. So technology refers to a method, system, and devices which are result of scientific knowledge being used for practical purposes. Technology is changing fast. They should allow to wait for cheaper technologies to be developed. So there are 11 types of technology. These are the information technology, the health technology, the artificial technology, the information and communication technology, the robotics, the educational technology, the architectural technology, automation, biotechnology, augmented reality, and printing. Robotics is a class of machine with semi-autonomic capabilities, meaning that robot can handle certain tasks in real-world conditions without direction. Recent discoveries and ingenuity has allowed us to create robotics in the form of artificial intelligence, as well as in the physical form of robots. Artificial intelligence is a technology that learns and self-improves a super intelligence, a theoretical type of technology that exhibit intelligence. And also, the artificial intelligence is a branch of computer science that deals with the study and design of artificially intelligence. Differences between humans and machine. A machine is only a device consisting of different parts and is used for performing different functions. And human behave according to their consciousness. Machine perform as they are thought. Humans perform activity as per their own intelligence. On the contrary, machine only have an artificial intelligence. So what will happen if we fully recognize and appreciate human dignity in ourselves? So when we fully recognize and appreciate this truth in ourselves and in all the person around us, regardless on their status in life, then we pave the way for just and possessive society. In this society, we are freely human, more rational and more loving. Human become more free. We are empowered to make choices for our flourishing. Become more rational when we are able to value and apply the principle of logic and science in our lives. We become more loving when we ensure that human dignity lies at the foundation of our endeavors, whether scientific or not. Human versus robots. The rise of machine accompanying the progress in science and technology may render human useless. Manual labor is gradually being replaced by machinery. Computers become more and more sophisticated. Robots, usually designed like human beings, are created to perform complex, repetitive, and dangerous tasks. So the next topic is why does the future do not need humans? So who is Bill Joy? Bill Joy, in full, William Nelson Joy, is an American computer engineering and venture capitalist. He co-founded Sun Microsystem in 1982, along with Scott McNay, Vinod Khosla, and Andy Bickelshim, and served as chief scientist and CTO at the company until 2003. According to Bill Joy, the 21st century powerful technologies are the genetic engineering, the nanotechnology, and the robotics. Our most powerful 21st century technologies, the robotics, genetic engineering, and nanotechnology, are threatening to make humans as endangered species. So what are these technologies? So the genetic engineering is the study of heredity and the variation of inherited characteristics, while the nanotechnology is a part of science and technology about the control of matter on the atomic and molecular scale, while the robotics is to deal with the design, construction, operation, and use of robots, as well as computer for their control, sensory, feedback, and information processing. A textbook, Dystopia and Moravik, is just getting wound up. He goes on to discuss how our main job in the 21st century will be ensuring continued cooperation from the robot industries by passing laws declaring that they be nice, and to describe how seriously dangerous human can be once transformed into an unbounded superintelligent robot. Moravik's view is that the robot will eventually succeed us, that human clearly face extinction. What was different in the 21st century? Certainly, the technology underlying the weapons of mass destruction, nuclear, biological, and chemical, were powerful and the weapons and innermost threat. But building nuclear weapons required, at least for a time, access to both rare, indeed effectively, and unavailable raw materials and highly protected information. Biologically and chemical weapons programs also tended to require large-scale activities. The 21st century technologies, genetics, nanotechnology, and robotics, are so powerful that they can spawn whole new classes of accident and abuses. Most dangerously, for the first time, these accidents and abuses are widely within the reach of individuals or small groups. They will not require large facilities or rare raw materials. Knowledge alone will enable the use of them. Thus, we have the possibility not just of weapons of mass destruction, but of knowledge enable mass destruction. This destructiveness usually amplified by the power of self-replication. While there are many important issues here, the major concern with genetic engineering is narrower, that it gives the power, whether military, accidentally, or in deliberate terrorist act, to create a wide plague. And that will be all for our discussion. Thank you, sir. Thank you, everyone, for watching and listening on our video. And keep safe. Have a nice day and God bless. Bye-bye.